Welcome in, y'all. This is the Lightweight Pregamers, a fantasy football podcast for the Pregame HQ. I am back this week as your host, CJ Kraus, and with me, I got Matt and Charles. We're rocking this one out. So today we'll be talking about the James Conner signing. We're going to be talking about Alex Smith retiring, and then we'll be doing a 12-team way too early redraft, superflex, mock draft. But it's nice to get this going while we have it going on. But Charles, how you doing tonight, bud?
Yo, I'm doing great. I'm dressed for war here. You know, I got my camo on, camo hat.
You're just like a floating
shirt.
head. That's all you are right now. It's like if I wore all green, so I fade in my background. That's what it feels like.
I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Let's get it going. Matt, how we doing tonight, buddy?
Good, man. Gearing up for the summer. So I'm a teacher, so just gearing up for summer break. We're getting students back, so things have been hectic, but just enjoying the weather before we hit triple digits over here, getting the kids outside and loving life, man. Ready for the draft.
I wish I could enjoy the weather. It started snowing here in Denver today, so it looks like a winter wonderland outside. Like it's like snow. I feel like it's December. So it was just like 80 degrees the other day. Now we got snow. Gotta love Colorado weather.
Supposed to get snow tomorrow, so that's gonna be fun. Thanks.
Yeah, it's a cold April a lot of places. Except for, I don't want to hear from you, Matt. Anywho, talking about
this
signing
discussion before.
I know. Talking about sunshine weather, James Conner signing a 1-year, $1,750,000 contract with the Arizona Cardinals. What does this do to the backfield over there, Charles? What do you think about the Conner signing?
You could pretty much just blow it all up. There's no real true RB1 for that team right now. I mean, there's no difference between Kenyon Drake and James Conner, except they both still get injured all the time. So it's the exact same thing all over again. You know, Kyler Murray's going to steal probably about 800 yards and 6 scores, and each one of those guys is going to end up with about probably around 800 to 900 yards total offense and probably about 8 or 9 touchdowns apiece. I mean, it's just bland. That's all it is, unless they go out and draft somebody. But I think
they can. I think they can.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going the first or second, but they do have a 4th-round pick that I think could end up back. So Matt, what do you think of this backfield? Is there anybody you want to own or anybody you'd actually take?
I mean, if I can get James Conner as like a flex a little bit later in the draft, sure. I don't see any difference. Anybody who was banking on Chase Edmonds being an RB1 or high-end RB2, that's out the window. I don't see it being any different than last year with Drake. And, I mean, Charles absolutely nailed it. You know, there's not much difference between Drake and Conner. They both got their injury issues. They're both very similar backs. Kyler's going to vulture, so you guys nailed it.
I think Drake's a better pass catcher. I think that's something that, it's definitely going to be Chase Edmonds being the pass-catching running back. But that's, I don't want any of these guys. I think James Conner's worth a little bit more, but we're talking like a guy I'm going to put near the back of my bench. I hope I never have to use, and that's not a guy I really want to draft. So it kind of kills the whole backfield. I do think it's possible they do draft a running back in this class too. So we'll see how that goes. And some sad news, I think we have a retirement today. Alex Smith. They should rename the Comeback Player of the Year award to the Alex Smith Award. That's something I think they should do for him for going through everything he went through to come back and to play in the NFL and played not bad. He wasn't great by any means, but he was still a suitable NFL quarterback. He didn't really get any offers in the offseason besides a couple backup roles where it's more him being like a player coach.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you think of Alex Smith?
I mean, it's tough to see him go, but I'm so glad he got that swan song, if you will, that final chance. What a story. I mean, to come through to San Francisco and go through what he went through with all the different offensive coordinators and then to be replaced like that, and then you got Mahomes coming in and taking over for him. And so, I mean, and then you got that injury. It's just what a story this guy has been through. You nailed it, comeback player of the year, comeback player of the century. I was reminiscing a little bit about his time with the 49ers, just thinking back to that playoff game against the Saints where they came back, where it was just back and forth there at the end. I saw one of the highlights there, and man, I'm gonna miss Alex Smith, but what a career, man.
Yeah, I'd love to see him come back as a coach somewhere as well. I think he'd be really good as just like a straight up coach. Charles, what do you like Alex Smith? Do you have any stories about him? Anything you feeling or?
I am so. I personally believe Alex Smith has been one of the most wasted talents we've seen come into the NFL in a long time. It's like Matt can attest to this. The 49ers had 5 different head coaches and 5 different offensive coordinators in the time that he was there in San Francisco. And then they just kind of, the whole Colin Kaepernick situation, is he the starter? Is he not the starter? And like, they just shuffled him off to Kansas City and where he flourished. I mean, Andy Reid just brought out the greatness that is Alex Smith. And Alex Smith was going to do great. I mean, the only reason why Mahomes got beat out Alex Smith is because Mahomes is Mahomes. If it's any other team, I think Alex Smith is still the starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs and probably still does win a Super Bowl with them. Alex Smith he's a great talent. He's one of the best competitors out there that we've seen in a long time, in my mind. And to end up, what did he go 6-1 over the rest of the season this year? The guy still has it. It's just sad to see him not going to be playing next year.
Yeah,
and he definitely, like you said, they should change the name of the Comeback Player of the Year award to the Alex Smith Award because, oh my goodness,
we need to get a petition for that. We need to start getting some signatures going on that. That would be the best thing that they could do. But that's a kind of slow news week. I really wanted to bring it up. Alex Smith, one of really great quarterbacks we're going to see as a person, as a story that we got to watch every step of the way with everything going on. But looking forward to 2021, we're going to jump into this one. It is going to be a 3-round super flex mock draft. So each of us get to control 4 different teams across this one. So we'll be able to pick for different spots as well. We're going to go over in depth the first 2 rounds, and the third round is going to be kind of a lightning round. We're not going to go too much in that for time constraints, but it's good to start these ideas now so we can start planning for that. I know it's so much is going to change in a week, and I want to do this again in a few weeks to see how it really changes. But that's one big thing. So, you boys ready?
Ready. Let's get into it.
Caught him drinking water. He wasn't ready. All right, y'all. So, moving over to screen, as you can see, we're doing this on the Sleeper app. I am taking the 101 in this one. Remember, Superflex means you can start a quarterback in a flex spot as well. So we're going to be doing a PPR scoring, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver if we were doing a full draft, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 1 super flex. That's how we're going to keep the idea of it. So it's very balanced in terms of how we're looking at all of this, but that's how we're going to be going for this one. So,
what about those kickers? We're bringing kickers in,
okay,
right?
Yeah, if you want to take a kicker in these rounds, I'll allow it, but I will not be. I will tell you that right now. No bonus points to standard PPR, just to make it simple across this one. I am the host, so I'm taking the 101 inside of all this one. And with that easiest decision of my life, I am taking Patrick Mahomes with that. With the super flex position, quarterbacks do get bumped up. You normally wouldn't see this in one of your home leagues if you're not doing super flex, but this is something I like to bring up, especially Mahomes may not have been the number 1 quarterback last year, may not have been the number 1 quarterback the year before, but he's definitely the safest grab and really simple to go with. He's going to be always in the top 5 week to week.
Yep.
Guys got anything about Mahomes?
What more is there to say?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Charles, you're on next. What do we got?
I'm going to be taking Kyler Murray with the 2nd pick. Kyler is it's a toss-up to me between Kyler Murray and Josh Allen. The only difference between the two, I mean, they're both going to run the ball. They're both going to score touchdowns with their legs. But the biggest thing with Josh Allen and difference between Allen and Murray was Josh Allen had, 19 dropped interceptions last year, if I remember correctly. And for me, it's I don't think Josh Allen performs as well as he does next year as he did last year. I think we see a little regression on that end, even though it's going into the full off season with Stephon Diggs. It's I like Murray better.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick at all. I think one big thing is he was the number 1 by far quarterback in fantasy football throughout the first about 8 weeks till that injury happened. That's something else to keep in the back of your mind is when an injury happened, being tackled, it's more so alignment fell on him, and that's what it kind of happened there. So his frame is an issue, but I can't hate on that pick. He's who I have at 3rd. I do have Josh Allen 2nd personally, but we're talking minute differences personally. I don't hate that at all. Well, let's hear what you have to say about Murray, and let's hear you take it 3.
Murray and Allen are right there close to each other. But for me, my QB2 is Josh Allen. So that's who I'll be taking at the 3. Happy to get him here. What's to say about it? You got the rushing upside. What other rushing game did they have in Buffalo last year? And so until they fix that in any way, Josh Allen has that upside. I'm expecting an uptick in touchdowns from Stephon Diggs, and I'm ready to run it back with Josh Allen. Dude's an absolute stud. The step forward that he took last season, it was just unreal. So, yeah, give me my QB2 all day here at the 103.
Yeah, he is my QB2. Josh Allen is an anomaly, though. That's the biggest thing. We've never seen a quarterback take that bigger step forward, and I don't think we ever will. He might just be the one of. I know people are talking about, maybe Daniel Jones has a Josh Allen jump, and, no one's going to have a Josh Allen jump. It's very, 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 very
Where did he go?
rare.
He went from, the 30th rated in passing completion percentage last year to the 4th best.
Yeah.
That's
They overhauled all
jump.
of his mechanics. That's the thing. They went through all his mechanics, and it actually worked. It very rarely works with these quarterbacks, especially having success. But I completely agree. He is the RB1 on that team as well. So it's kind of nice to have with that situation. But I don't hate the pick at all. Love it. So with this one, I'm going to go a little curveball. For the number 4 team, I think in redraft, it matters a little bit less about quarterback. Not saying it doesn't matter a lot, but I think in redraft, you want to focus more on that. And I think quarterback's even deeper now, especially we're getting 5 new quarterbacks added to the pool with the starters. So I'm taking my running back 101, which is going to be Christian McCaffrey. PPR scoring, he's just a stud. We saw him play in a couple games, scored over 30 points last year. It was just injuries, and I don't think anybody did enough to usurp that, even with him coming back. He's coming back with Sam Darnold, who is arguably better than Teddy Bridgewater. So that's something the offense is a little bit better. We're talking minute differences. But I think Christian McCaffrey is the clear number 1 running back. And if I'm starting a redraft league, I would go Christian McCaffrey there. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah.
I buy that. I mean, it's like quarterbacks. Yeah. It's like your elite. It's like elite running backs will score just like a quarterback will in PPR. So especially a pass catching back like CMC. So.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the limited games where he was healthy last year. It's clear they're going to feed him the ball. They're going to get him the ball. You're going to have Sam Darnold coming over. And, I think that he's going to lean on CMC pretty heavily. So it's going to be a big year for CMC. I don't fault you at all. 104 is when you start thinking about those other positions once those big 3 are off the board. So this pick is great.
Wheels up. All right, Charles, who you got the 105?
All right, the 105, just sticking with the running back position. Never mind. We're going to go Travis Kelce. I'm just going to throw it out there. I mean, Travis Kelce. I put a generic listing. I'm trying to do different theories for every team that I'm drafting for. So it's I'm trying not to just go with best player available right here. But I'm going with Travis Kelce with that first pick. I mean, the guy scores as a wide receiver number 1. So it's why wouldn't you take him? So
I don't hate that pick at all. I think it's about where we're going to see him go this next year. We saw just such a huge gap from him to Waller, which is the 1 to 2, and then from Kelce to the tight end 6 even was astronomical. So that's just a positional advantage. That's one big thing. It's going to be interesting. I want to see how you build this team as well, but I don't hate that pick at all. Especially again, we're talking about even in Superflex, especially in redraft, that is going to be something we want to have the ability to have advantage over other teams. And there's a lot of quarterbacks out there in this next year. There's still elite ones out there, but I think Kelce's one of the few guys like CMC that is elite on his own right and could give you a week-to-week advantage over other teams. Matt, anything to add to that?
No doubt. No, I mean, yeah, you're looking at the positional advantage. It gets so slim so quick there. And Kelce, I mean, he's shown no signs of slowing down. If anything, last year he was even better. He had his best year. And, that team's not going to slow down anytime soon. And, yeah, Kelce, can't fault you at all for that.
And you are up, sir, at the 106.
Right. So at the 106, this is where I start looking at the running backs. Do I want to go there quite yet? I think I am going to go with my running back 2. And in redraft, give me Derrick Henry. I mean, he's just going to they're just going to keep feeding him the ball. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Until they replace him, do something to actively replace him, bring somebody in. I mean, they're just going to keep feeding him. And, you know, who else can we bank on to get all of those touches, 300 plus touches and 2,000 yards? I mean, he was just putting up, you know, 200-yard games like it was nothing. I think it was like 3 200-plus yard games. Until this guy slows down, I'm going to keep leaning on him, especially in redraft.
Exactly.
It's interesting for PPR you went there because I have another running back above him because Henry says that he's working on his pass catching, but I feel like he's been working on his pass catching since he came into the league. But he is that elite rusher. He's going to be the guy that you want to lean on down the stretch because when it gets cold, you feed the Yeti.
Exactly. King Henry shows up when it's feeding time. You know?
And there's that whole notion out there, you know, if there's vacated targets, which we see with Jonnu Smith and Corey Davis, where do those vacated targets generally go? They go to the running back. Now, is Derrick Henry necessarily that? No, but maybe can we see an extra, you know, 1 to 2 catches from him a game? I'll take that on top of what he already produces.
Wow, I was thinking 1 to 2 catches total. But
I mean, even if he only gets, even if he only gets like 1 catch for 8 yards every game, that's 1.8 points you're getting on top of his 150 yards he's going to run for and 2 touchdowns. You know.
No, so. Again, I don't fault it. I just have a running back ahead of him, and I'm going to take that running back here at 7. I'm going to continue with the theme here. We're going Dalvin Cook at the 107.
Almost took him at the 105.
Yeah, I just think because of the pass catching, that makes him jump over him. I think when we look at it, Henry's a better rusher, but we have to take into effect the only thing that worries me is with Henry and Cook even that we have an extra game this year, and RBs don't play 16 games. Now we're asking them to play 17 games. So this is a guy, if I'm taking Cook in that first round, I'd be looking for a Madison near the end of the draft just to have him there. Because there's very few guys. So a lot of times when I look at this, unless there's a guy like Christian McCaffrey as a clear number 1 in a super flex league, I usually lean quarterback. But I think Dalvin Cook is the closest we can get to it, and he has a good handcuff, so that bumps him up to me because I can have that lock later on in the draft. I think is available to you. So quarterback still matters a lot, but I think Dalvin Cook just is that difference maker at the position. I think personally it's my last difference maker before we start going back to quarterbacks to give away what I'm doing next.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, you must be reading my notes there because that's exactly what I'm doing with this next pick. And I'm taking not Aaron, but Dak Prescott with the 8th pick. I feel it's like the rehab, everything that I'm hearing out of Dallas right now says that the rehab's going well. They expect good things. And I personally actually expect Dallas, if they don't attack the defensive needs, that they'll go after an offensive line prospect or something along those lines, especially later on in the draft, which will help, replenish all the injuries that they had last year. So, I mean, that Dallas offense is primed to explode as long as they stay healthy. That's all there is to it.
I'm a Dak truther, so you don't have to convince me on this one. He is my QB4 in redraft. So, and I could say he's arguable with Kyler Murray even as my QB3. Like they're really close. Yeah. So to get him there at 8 is a steal. The way it looks, I considered it, but I just think the quarterback class again is a little bit deeper than normal, and I want to see how the middle teams turn out with that. So, I can't hate on it. He has elite weapons. If he gets Kyle Pitts, which he could potentially, because they're talking about it.
As a Dallas fan, I'd hate that. I would hate that as a Dallas fan because I think Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz proved that they are both very capable top 10 tight ends. Yeah. I mean, Dalton Schultz finished as tight end 10, so you can only imagine that the guy who he replaced would also finish in the top 10. That's just my train of logic that I'm using there. So it's like I really do think.
Is it really that hard to finish as a top 10 tight end? I mean, I almost got there, and I sat on my couch all season. So, I mean,
we talked about this before. The difference between tight end 7 and tight end 16 was 1.9 points a game. When we were discussing Jonnu Smith a couple episodes back, it's like all that is one more catch every game. So, but I see where you're coming from. I don't think they need Kyle Pitts. Would that be tasty and delicious? Yes.
My fantasy teams would love that. That's what I'm saying. I talk about fantasy. I'm not a Cowboys fan.
I get you. Yeah, from a fantasy perspective, it would be amazing. I think if they go with Kyle Pitts, I think that would spell the end for Michael Gallup. But that's just me.
I mean, I think he's been on the way out for a while, in all honesty. But that's with CD took over a lot of that. But moving on to the next pick we got going on here. So number 9 right here. Where are we at, Matt?
Yep. At the 109, there's 3 running backs that I'm looking at right here. But there's only one whose situation I absolutely love. I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor here. I'm looking at Kamara and I'm looking at Barkley as well. But Kamara, you've got that QB situation that you're looking at that you're nervous about. Barkley is coming off of that injury. Now they're improving the offensive line, so he probably would have been next in line for me. But Jonathan Taylor, what's not to love about this guy? Absolutely broke out. He's in the perfect offense for him to just get fed. You got Carson Wentz coming over. I mean, I don't think that offense is going to run through Carson Wentz. So Jonathan Taylor is absolutely going to get his. He was on a tear at the end of last year. So I'm just excited to see where this guy's go. The ceiling is the roof for this gentleman.
I think we agree to disagree on this pick.
Okay.
I don't hate Jonathan Taylor. I like Jonathan. I just don't like Carson Wentz. I think he is that bad, and he will not target the running back at all, that he just takes away a lot of that similar idea to Derrick Henry, that I would probably take him near the turn. I'm not sure if I would want him over a quarterback right here. I just think that he was in a great situation. He had 36 receptions last year, so that was a big part of his fantasy points as well. He was not that good the first half of the year, as much as we want to remember all the good he did, so they could go back to that. But I understand he is in this range. I'm just saying that I don't think his redraft ceiling is as high as we want it to be. I think it's more of a dynasty buy.
Well, and also look at, Phillip Rivers, his whole thing was the little flip to the running back. I mean, that's what that's one reason why.
Noodle on Rivers, check down King.
Exactly. I mean, that's one reason why it's like Carson Wentz in Philadelphia never really targeted the running back. So we saw an increase in Miles Sanders' production once Carson Wentz went out. So, I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
He's going to get his. I'm just not sure the offense is going to score enough to give him this evaluation, personally. But I've been wrong before. Not too often, but every now and then. So my 110, going to the next one. I'm going back to the quarterback well. I'm going with ceiling at this point. I want a running quarterback with this. Lamar Jackson. Not the greatest passer, but one of the best rushers out there. And running is king when it comes to the quarterback position. Because most leagues you're getting about a point every 25 yards passing, but you get a point every 10 yards rushing, and that sounds lovely for a guy like Lamar Jackson. Given the back end of this, I think it's right where I would want to take him.
Nope, that checks. It's like I got another quarterback in front of Lamar Jackson, but that's just simply because I think I got Aaron Rodgers ahead of him, but I can't argue with that pick. So,
well, you were on the clock, sir. Who are you taking?
Keeping with tradition here, it's like I got my own little setup for each individual team. I'm actually going to the wide receiver well, and I'm taking Davante Adams.
Okay.
It's like I said before, I have a little setup for each team, how I'm drafting, just to give different perspective, because not everyone's going to be as smart as me and draft accordingly, to create these championship squads. So no, you can't argue with Davante Adams. Davante Adams is by far, to me, the number one wideout in the league right now. So that's
a bold statement. There's a lot of great wide receivers out there. I think he's in that top tier, that upper echelon for sure. You can't deny what he's done. You can't say a word. I think he is my number one wide receiver, but I don't think he's that far ahead of my number two wide receiver.
Oh no, he's not. The only reason why it's I have him rated above my other wide receiver is simply because of the fact that there's nobody else to take the targets away. I mean, you can't trust any of yet, but Green Bay's going to go in and draft another quarterback, so it does in the first round, so it doesn't really matter.
No, again, I don't hate it. I'm not. I think RB and QB and redraft is just the way to go in the first round. I think there's so many receivers that are so good that. But again, we're talking difference makers. Adams definitely is. He is as safe as you can get, though. You will plug him in every game he plays. He is scoring you about 20 points, and that is lovely to have. So I get it. So team 11 is your safe team. I'm excited to see you get after the turn. But, Matt, we got the back-to-backs, buddy. Who you going with?
Absolutely. I'm loving this. So with the long wait coming up, there's a couple positions here that I think are going to thin out by the time I come back around here. And so I'm looking at running back first and foremost. I'm going to take the guy that was in consideration for me last time, Saquon Barkley. Coming back off that injury, we're starting to get that hype going because they're, you're seeing those workout videos come out and all that stuff, seeing those quads. They slimmed down a little bit, but he's going to be back in form in no time. And I mean, just look at, what Wayne Gallman was able to do in that offense last year. The offensive line was improving, and he is, he's a PPR back. He's going to get his in the passing game, and he's got major upside here. I think the Giants' offense is going to take a nice step forward there.
You're not worried about Devontae Booker? That's not worrying you at all?
If he was still on the Raiders, I think he would take from Jacobs and Drake over there for sure, but not on the Giants.
Go for it, man. Sorry.
No, I love the Saquon pick. I think he's definitely a value here at the end, and someone that was going to 102 last year. Good reason. The only thing I worry about him is, again, a lot of times after the ACL year, you do see a lot of soft tissue injuries. That's the next year, so that's something to keep in consideration in the back of your mind. But again, at the 112, he has probably the highest ceiling of anybody here, and you have another pick right now ready to go.
All right. So like I said, I'm looking at quarterback here too. It's going to start to slim down by the time I get to my next pick. And I'm going to throw this for a loop a little bit here. And I'm going to take Matthew Stafford. So looking at a couple of the other quarterbacks here, Justin Herbert was up there in consideration for me. But that defense is going to get healthy. I don't think they're going to lean on the passing game quite as much. I think we're going to see some more rushing. I think they're going to bring in another back to go with Eckler, and we're going to see more out of the rushing game and that defense. So I think Herbert kind of takes a step back. And I love Stafford in LA in that offense with those weapons dumping off to Cam Akers. You got Woods and Kupp over there that he's going to be going long to. So he's going to be my pick here.
Yeah, I'm not sure Cam Akers can catch, but I get what you're saying with all of that. One of the biggest things at the turns, you got to take your guys. And if Stafford is that guy for you, he's not making it back. He's not to the 312. So again, that's your guy. I love it. I think Stafford's a great pick. I love Stafford this year. So yeah, I don't hate it at all. Charles, let's get your opinions on these last two picks, and let's hear your 2.2.
Okay. Well, first off, my pick, I'm stacking the team. I'm going Aaron.
I thought you were going there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the whole. I went. The Saquon Barkley, I actually got Saquon Barkley as my 10th rated running back going into redraft next year. My biggest issue is the fact that the Giants really didn't address the offensive line. Yes, the offensive line was getting better throughout the year, but they didn't address the offensive line in free agency. They went after toys for Daniel Jones instead of blocking guys. So I think they're going to start relying more on the pass as opposed to the run. And in addition, I mean, Saquon Barkley, he's been in the league for 3 years, and he's already missed like 18 games, 20 games, something along those lines. I have some hesitancy with him. It's like he is still a solid running back. But for redraft, it's like I have him in the later bottom half of the RB1s. So,
like I said, you're drafting safe. I mean, I can't fault you for it.
Yeah.
Again, you're taking a team with Adams and Rodgers. Very safe back-to-back. Nice little stack you got there. So that makes sense. I just think, I think Saquon, if you're going for ceiling, Saquon is definitely the guy. It does come with that risk of, like we talked about, he's missed a lot of games. You can't deny that's a fact. We've seen a lot of people come back with ACL tears. They are more prone to soft tissue injuries. Before I take my next pick, what's your thought on the Stafford pick?
On the Stafford pick, I love him. I mean, I think we could see him put up easily 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns next year. I mean, with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Tyler Higbee, that team is going places. Finally, Matt Stafford. I mean, look at back when he used to have Megatron. When he had Megatron, he was slinging it. He was easily a top 10 quarterback, if I remember correctly.
Low key, they also have Deshaun Jackson running 9 routes out there. With Deshaun Jackson, any team he plays for elevates the quarterback. Like, it's not saying even he'll for the 2 games he plays, but that's something just to be aware of. No, again, really good there. I'm going to jump in the 2.3. So the pair Lamar Jackson, I'm going Ezekiel Elliott. I think that's a steal here, the early part of the second. I think that's just like as safe as it gets. You get Lamar Jackson ceiling, Zeke's floor. This team looks great comparatively. I might want to have a back end pick and redraft. Not too much to say. He had a bad end of the season, but really it was kind of weaker because of the Dak injury, and the offense didn't have the option to be as explosive as they could be.
Still finished top 10 though. I mean, here's the thing. Here's a guy who his entire career, the worst he's finished in PPR fantasy is RB9. And that was the year he missed 6 games. You can't fault that pick. I mean, Zeke is everyone dogs on him, but the guy goes out there and produces every year. Now, granted, he might have some stinker games, but what running back doesn't?
It's fair.
Yeah.
So,
Charles, it's on you.
yep. All right. Now actually, it's up to
mine.
Matt.
Oh, is it?
I'm up. Yeah. So having gone running back here in the first round to pair with Jonathan Taylor, looking at QB, I'm going to go ahead and take. I'm going to go with Justin Herbert here. I talked about having some concerns with the defense getting better and all that, but he's still got the weapons. I think they're going to add another pass catcher in the draft. I would absolutely love to see that, to partner with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, get another guy out there. Jalen Guyton came on. You got Tyron Johnson, but Justin Herbert's just got the weapons, and I do think that even though I'll expect a little bit of a step back there, it's hard to pass him up here in a super flex at this point in the draft. So I'll partner him up and go kind of young here, but I like the upside.
If that was a dynasty team, you'd be sitting pretty. I love that pick. He's got such a good arm. The only thing that worries me is we might have seen his best season last year that he'll have, but doesn't mean he can't match it. So that's a good choice there. And quarterback starting to move tiers a little bit here now. So I'm interested to see what you pair with Dak, how you decide to build this team. The silly snake got me going the wrong way on that one, but we're back on track with my brain.
Yeah, no, with Dak, I'm going to pair Aaron Jones with this. It's like I was torn between Aaron Jones or Alvin Kamara, but with the quarterback situation in flux down in New Orleans, your boys still haven't come out with what they're doing down there, man. You got to get on the phone and call up Sean Payton, see who the quarterback's going to be. It's like that's what puts Aaron Jones on top for me. And Aaron Jones, I think in PPR format, has one of the best potential to be RB1 next year. It's like literally any one of these running backs that we've selected can finish RB1, and you wouldn't be surprised.
No, not at all. Like none of these guys would really be that crazy out the line here. Aaron Jones is electric, and I honestly completely agree with taking him over Alvin Kamara for redraft. I'm actually one, as a Saints fan, it hurts to say I'm lower on Kamara than most people, because I actually wrote an article for the Pregame HQ extrapolating out a season if they were to use Taysom Hill based on the stats that what we've seen from him throughout his year and career, especially as a starter. And Kamara dropped all the way into about a low-end RB1, like I think it was running back 11 based on extrapolated stats. So it's something to consider that he will not exceed many passes if Taysom wins. And with Jameis Winston, he is not a one that checks down to the running back very often. So Aaron Jones over Kamara is definitely an interesting call, and I agree with it. So what's your opinion on Aaron Jones down there, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, with the contract that he signed and with Rodgers being there again, there's going to be so much opportunity for Aaron Jones. It's obvious that he wanted to run it back with Green Bay, and so I think he's going to be hungry there. And, can't fault that at all. There are the concerns with Alvin Kamara. There's probably one running back that I would have taken over him, but I can't fault you for it.
I think I also have one. We might have the same one. I'm not going to take him here, though, to pair with my Dalvin Cook, because I see, as a drafter, I see what's ahead of me. And I see 3 teams without a quarterback. And knowing that I should probably grab one here, it might be the best call.
Yep.
So I'm going to take Russell Wilson.
You dirty SOB.
Gotta love the snipe going there. I think Dalvin Cook, Russell Wilson, it's going to be a little bit of Russell Wilson's great. He's always going to be a QB1. He is streaky at times, but you take the good with the bad. And a lot of times with a quarterback like this, I'll probably pair a safer quarterback a few rounds later, someone like a Kirk Cousins or a Tannehill or someone in that range to kind of balance it out. So I think it's definitely something to look for. Yeah, I like the Cook Russ as well. Let Russ cook.
Yeah, please do. All right. So here I'm on the clock at the 2:07 here. I've already got Derrick Henry. Give me a stud at another position here. I'm going wide receiver. Give me Tyreek Hill. I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here, not going quarterback, but give me that pairing, that Derrick Henry rushing upside, and then Tyreek Hill. What an incredible year he had last year. Before last season, he was often pegged as inconsistent. He would have those boom games, but then he'd also leave you out to dry. And last year, he just didn't do that. And so I'm ready for him to run it back. Patrick Mahomes loves his Kelsey and his Tyreek Hill. So why not give me a couple of studs here?
I mean, as he should. Those players, best players by far. I love the pick. I think it's a great call. I think he's the guy that could battle for that wide receiver 1. He became a complete receiver last year, showing everything he has. I think he could he could potentially jump Adams. He's one of the few guys I think that could battle him for that spot.
Yep. No, and piggybacking on what you said earlier, it's like you look ahead, you see the teams coming up. The teams in front of me right now, I'm on the 2.8 pick. It's like I see there's only one other team in front of me that doesn't have a quarterback. So I know the next 4 picks or 8 picks are going to be positional players. This is the point where I'm going to be snagging Stephon Diggs here with the 2.8 pick. He's another one of those wide receivers that we all consider in like that elite tier. Yep, sniping.
Come on, man.
Sniping. Why do you think I wore my cam?
He wanted the Allen stack. That's what he wanted.
You took my stack.
Give it to me.
Yeah, no, it's like seriously, it's like I got 4 wide receivers in that stack that are just head and shoulders above everyone else. Now, what the only downfall is now I'm going to be reliant upon with this team in Superflex. I'm going to be reliant upon more of your middle of the road quarterbacks. You know, your Tom Brady's, your Big Ben's. You know, which those guys aren't bad. I mean, Tom Brady was a top 10 quarterback last year. You know, it's just they don't carry that rushing ability that most of these other quarterbacks that have already been selected.
Well, this will end up being one of those teams where like you need to be one of the teams that gets 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And here's the strategy I want to bring up now. I call it the buddy strategy. You look at all the bye weeks, and if you want to start taking a bunch of skills guys, you pick the week that has the most buys, and you give yourself one guaranteed loss of your team just being all in the same bye. So your 2 quarterbacks you take, and you stack the skills. So that's also a way to, once we know what bye weeks are. Like last year, I think it was week 8, we had like Ravens and Pittsburgh, and there's like 5 teams on bye that week that you can just build your roster out of that roster and then have a good lineup. And that's what a strategy I use every now and then. And we start seeing a bunch of quarterbacks being taken. So I wanted to bring that up as a secondary one. So if you're going skills positions heavy early in a super flex league, you need to make sure you commit to getting 3 of those middle tier and play matchup based that way, because there'll be no quarterbacks on the waiver wire. Or find that buddy system, find what week has the most buys, and try to pair your roster in a way to do it like that. So I just want to bring that up. Anything to add, guys, before I pick?
Yeah. I love that strategy. I haven't heard that buddy strategy before, so I'm gonna have to try that this year.
It's a good one. I mean,
it's a ton of fun. Definitely, you can, if you decide on the correct week, you can definitely build a strong team and then not worry about having to have that third player. You're just gonna, I use Taysom Hill as my QB3 on a week that everyone buys it, and then by the end of the season, I had an extra QB because Taysom played a couple games. It was an interesting setup there. But moving on to the next area here, I'm going to go a little curveball. So, again, I see that there is a lot of quarterbacks taken ahead of me in my Christian McCaffrey pick. So, I'll be looking ahead for this one. I'm actually going to take – I want to hear what you guys' opinion on this one. A player I think is going to be one of the biggest PPR machines at the running back position. I'm taking Austin Eckler with this pick. Just because I think in that offense, when he got back in there, he was one of the top pass catchers. I think the ceiling is there. And again, I'm a little lower than most on the whole Kamara situation. I don't know what's going on there. I know he's going to have Herbert, and I know Herbert will lean on him because we saw that happen.
Yep. No, I like this pick. I mean, Austin Eckler, it's like he's a PPR machine. I mean, before the injury, I think he was averaging like 19 points a game.
Yeah.
It's like, why mail it in. You know you got an RB1, and you already have Christian McCaffrey on this team, so now it's like you're set.
Yeah. I definitely think that that's a great pairing with Christian McCaffrey, because looking at Eckler, I'm a little bit nervous on Eckler as to if they bring in another running back, but he's still got that PPR upside. They're still going to use him in the passing game. It may limit his rushing upside, but as your RB2 behind CMC, you don't have to worry about that as much, and you can still take advantage of those PPR receptions there.
No doubt, that's the plan.
Yeah. All right, so at the 210, I got Josh Allen sitting here. Man, there's so many different directions I can go here. I'm kind of torn, but I'm going to actually do something a little bit different, and I'm going to go ahead and take the rookie with the golden locks. I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence here. So what I'm thinking here is, I'm a little bit worried about his first year here with Urban Meyer. and how Urban Meyer, his system and everything's going to translate into the NFL. But you got to love the weapons with Trevor Lawrence. And because I already have Josh Allen there and it is a super flex, if Trevor Lawrence is my QB2, I will take a risk on that upside all day and, not have to worry too much if he isn't just spectacular, because he's my QB2 behind a stud, Josh Allen. And I like what's on the board at the other positions right now. So I'll take a chance that they'll fall to me there.
It's definitely a bold call to take a guy like Trevor Lawrence there, especially knowing that there's 2 quarterbacks. But you are the third of them, so he might not have made it back after this whole turn going forward. So I think, again, in Dynasty, he's a first-round pick. I think he's going to be great. He's going to be one of those guys I think comes out a little bit faster than most, or he should. We've been talking about him for years. Yeah. So it's definitely I don't hate it. I just would love to see what the rest of the team would look like if we did a full draft. That would just be interesting to see what you'd have to build.
You've said that about a lot of my picks, so I don't know how to feel about that.
You got to have a plan. That's all I'm saying, especially in these situations. Yeah. So that's why I'm just curious. Sure. All right, Charles, this is your last pick before we go lightning round.
All right, no, I'm doing another stack. I'm taking a nuke with this pick.
You love your stacks, my friend.
It's my stacks. Going with that bye week strategy. That's one of the things that I do. It's like I know this stack is going to produce. It's like no matter how often he's listed on the injury report, DeAndre Hopkins is going to come out and going to light you up for about 8 catches and 50 yards guaranteed every game. And it's more than likely he's going to throw 2 touchdowns and go for 90 and then rip the hearts and souls. Well, what was that game where he ripped it out? Was it the Saints or was it last year on the Hail Murray? Yeah, the Hail Murray.
Oh yeah.
I like stacking. What can I say? I like to stack.
Yeah, and definitely. Do you play a lot of weekly fantasy? That's definitely a weekly fantasy kind of move.
Yeah, it is. It's a total weekly fantasy move, but I think it's something that can easily translate. No
doubt at all. Especially if you decide to
redraft.
That, especially in redraft, and 100. Especially if you go that strategy of okay, well, I'm deciding to do whatever bye week that the Cardinals have. Okay, so now you're looking at all the quarterbacks. I only got to take one more quarterback, and I'm gonna stack the middle. So then, and this is the way to stack that middle. So it's really nice to have that 1-2. So we're going to go lightning round here next, so we don't run out of time. But I'm going to talk about my next combo pick really quick. You gave me Patrick Mahomes to start with. I'm taking Kamara and Chubb. Just getting my RB1, RB2 to start it off. I think that is by far the dream scenario for someone that starts off Mahomes, because you have that guarantee. You're getting QB1 without any question. I don't mind having a QB2 that's like, okay, and I think running backs will definitely deplete by the time we get back. So that's something I'm just going to get my top 2 running backs off the board and be happy about it.
Yep.
Oh,
nope.
Chef's kiss right there. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
guys.
Not
bad at all.
All right, so Murray, Hopkins, who's the 3 on that team?
This is where I'm utilizing what knowledge we have right now. Ryan Fitzpatrick as my QB2. I think he's going to have a top 10 year. Past 3 years, he's been top QB5, and QB11 if you extrapolate his entire season over his stats over the entire season. So as long as he's a QB all year, I'm taking him. He's going to be top 10.
That is a bold 3rd round pick. My Terry McLaurin love wants that to happen.
Curtis Samuel love.
Cool. So Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, who's your 3?
All right, running back is going to get real ugly for me here. There's a few staring me in the face. I'm going to pick a pretty polarizing guy right here. I'm going to go with Joe Mixon and hope that we see some improvement there. We see Sewell make his way to Cincinnati.
I
love it.
No, I think that's a great call. I think it's really awesome with that setup in there, set up the O-line. So, again, we're lightning through this one. I'm going to go Burrow here as my QB1 for this team. I think CMC, Eckler, Burrow, I think it's going to be great. I think they're going to help him out a lot. So we got Kelsey, Diggs. Who's the 3 for this team?
It's going to be Tom Brady. Need a quarterback. Got to have a quarterback.
All right, Tom Brady adding that one in. Boom. All right. Absolutely. Now we got Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill. Who is the 3 on that one?
All right, so I'm going to take Ryan Tannehill. Again, it's getting we're getting those teardrops here at QB, but give me the guy that's got A.J. Brown.
No, I love that. That's one big thing of that. You can't hate on it at all. That's a great pick there. So to go into my next pick, I'm going to go with a guy that I really like for redraft, especially in PPR, because I think his ceiling is just so high as well. So I'm going to be going with Swift to add to my Russell Wilson and Dalvin Cook. I think he's going to be one of the best pass catchers in that offense. It's really, if you think Stafford and Swift roll together, I think they're going to go through Swift a lot with Jared Goff. I think who else they really have. So it's definitely a grouping I want to have there. And I think running backs can get really thin really fast.
Nope, completely agree.
Yeah.
With this next pick, I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley. So I need a wide receiver. Okay. I think it's a toss-up between him and Julio for me, but I think Ridley is going to be the more successful of the two.
I agree. Ridley is a great pick there. Jonathan Taylor, Justin Herbert.
All right, give me my man AJ Brown on here. My dynasty
your dynasty team is on point.
Yes, yeah, I'm aware.
I'm going positional with this one. So we got Lamar Jackson, Ezekiel, guys that can finish number one. I'm going to be going Kittle for this next pick here. So that's definitely where I'm going to go with that one to end my drafting for that.
All right. No, that's awesome. We're going to go with this one. We're going to go with Justin Jefferson. It's like sure. This is my 0 RB team. So
okay. So go in the future. That's your 0 RB team you're looking at.
Yeah, that's what the tail end of the draft. I always feel like that's a good spot to do the 0 RB because most of your elite running backs are gone by now, so, as we see.
I'll talk about my strategy of the Lamar team. I was counting my running backs to see if you guys all went running back, but I still have one I liked, and I did. So I went Kittle there. So that's why I have my line.
Nice. All right, and to close this out here with the 3-12 to pair with Barkley and Stafford, I'm going to take Cam Akers. Give me that stack, if you will, of Stafford and Akers. Love him with Stafford back there. We'll see. I've got hope for him. I think he's going to get his work this year.
I mean, if he should get more than 11 receptions like he did last year.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Again, we're looking at a great board here. That's one big thing. We are noticing the fourth round might be a great plethora of more value. So honestly, the way we're looking at everything, I think there's not a bad spot in a super flex draft. That's one thing that's really cool about all of this. Quarterbacks, they get a little bit thin, but to break it down really fast, team number 1 has Patrick Mahomes, Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb. Team number 2, Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Ryan Fitzmagic. Team 3, we got Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Mixon. Team 4, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Joe Burrow. 5, Kelsey, Diggs, Brady. 6, Henry, Hill, Tannehill. Another little stack there you didn't mean to do of players that can't catch. This is a Let Russ Cook team. Dalvin Cook, Russell Wilson, DeAndre Swift. Dak Prescott, Calvin Ridley, Aaron Jones. For 8, Jonathan Taylor, Justin Herbert, AJB. Lamar Jackson, Ezekiel Elliott, George Kittle, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, stacked with some Justin Jefferson on top, probably aiming for that Kirk Cousins a few rounds later, and Saquon Barkley, Stafford, Cam Akers. Gentlemen, great job. Anything stick out to you while we're doing this draft?
I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see 2 quarterbacks. It's like a common strategy you see in Superflex is 2 quarterbacks within the first 2 rounds or first 3 rounds. I mean, that's a very common strategy that's put out there. So I think this gives a good idea for everyone else. Like, hey, there are other options. There are other ways to do this to build a winning football team.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think especially, again, with this year, I would be fine with so many guys as my QB2. I would be fine with Justin Fields if he goes somewhere for that upside that somewhere plays. Zach Wilson, I'd be cool with that as a QB2. Big Ben, if Trey Lance is the starter, Matt Ryan still on the board. These are guys that I'm fine with taking
Jalen Hurts
round. Yeah, Jalen Hurts for that upside. Quarterback has never been in a deeper spot right now. So I think getting those positions like running back we talked about, it's good to kind of zig when other people zag, which I think a couple of us did. Matt, what do you think about this one?
I think I need a few more stacks. Give me the triple stack from Denny's, but not a sponsor. But anyway, this really taught me that redraft is a lot different from Dynasty. I feel like I'm in Dynasty mode, as you saw from my drafting here. So I'm going to get better here. Do a little more practice, but I don't hate my teams. think we've got some upside there.
I think every team is good. It's just like interesting to see how this goes. Again, this is why I like Superflex so much, even in redraft. The fact that you can create such a balance across the whole board. There's not as many haves and have-nots. So it's something to consider for your home leagues going forward. But, gentlemen, we'll move that draft board out of the way. Let us know where they can find you, Mr. Matthew.
All right, you can find me at PeakFF9. I'm not going to try to point this time because I know I'm going to mess it up even though we were practicing. So you can find me over there on Twitter, just interacting with people. I got into some rookie mocks, so you'll see some of those posted. And, man, the NFL draft cannot come quick enough. I'm looking forward to that.
I bet you can't wait for that third pick. You're sweating bullets.
Kyle Pitts. Oh, wait.
No, hey, you guys are going to trade Dallas. We're going to send you Dak, and you give us your 1.03.
Okay.
And
I'd take Dak for that.
I'm in.
Mr. Charles, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me right here at Heady_football there on Twitter.
All that
right in there for the
off.
Pardon?
All the practice is paying off at the point.
Oh, yeah. Hey, practice makes perfect, and that's why everyone needs to go out there and practice your drafting. Try different strategies. There's so many out there. There's 0 RB, 0 wide receiver, taking quarterbacks late. I know some people who don't draft their quarterbacks until the 12th round, and they're just winning championships left and right because they stack their teams. Practice makes perfect. Yeah, except Superflex, obviously.
Don't do that in Superflex.
Yeah, don't do that in Superflex. But still, go out and practice. You'll get better, you'll improve, and you'll start winning rings, which is the most important thing. Quick plug, one thing that I just published out there on the pregame was actually my redraft ranking, something we just did. And if you'll notice, most of my picks were right in line with how I ranked everyone. And go check it out. And it's part 1. I just did post free agency, and then we'll do part 2 after the draft. So
yeah, draft's going to shake some things up, but it's always good to have that preparation ahead of time. I am CJ Krause. You can find me at KidFlashFF on Twitter. You can also find me almost every single week here hosting the Pregame HQ podcast unless something comes up. But, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for doing this draft with me, and thank you so much for letting me get Mahomes, Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb on the same team.
Alvin
I will
Kamara.
catch you guys later.
All right, guys.
All right.